Hi guys, welcome back for another product video, and this time it's one by Huma Air. Lately we're diving into great detail into getting our air guns more accurate. We are changing liners, we have different barrels, we have different transfer ports in different sizes. We are changing the internals to get more power. We have a harmonic barrel tuner so we can tune our harmonic note of our barrel and all kind of that stuff. But lately we are getting into barrel tensioning, which gives a great advantage, getting that barrel stiffer and getting a better grip on that harmonic note. Now, of course, our friends at Huma Air also created a kit of their own, a barrel tensioning kit, gave a little twist of their own to it and put some nice features into it. So in this video, we'll go over all the features the Huma Air barrel tensioning kit has and of course, how to install it. So let's first start off with the rail itself. As you can see, very beautiful rail, made out of some air-grade aluminum, anodized in this nice black color, and at first glance it looks just a little bit bigger than the original one. I have an original one right here, and as you can see there is quite a difference, and there is an extra length of about 70 millimeters for a total length of 280 millimeters. Especially for those long distance shooters, they have canted the top rail to a 30 MOA angle. I don't know if you can see it well on camera, the slope you see here on the top rail, which allows you to increase the vertical adjustment range on your rifle scope for those longer distances. To improve the accuracy on your rifle, the scope rail is not just held on by those 3 screws that we all know from our original ones, but they have also milled in a nice keyway, or how should you call it, into the rail that perfectly fits over the backbone of your FX impact to eliminate that left to right movement. But I'll be showing that when we install it closer on. So all those features, like the extra room on your Picatinny rail, the extra Picatinny on the side, the keyway slot, the 30 MOA, all very nice features, but the best part is even underneath, and that's the clamp to make the barrel tensioning system work. The extended scope rail features a clamping section with this little part you see right here that fits nicely into there, over a decent amount of barrel that fixes the barrel directly when it leaves the action of the rifle, so the barrel and scope rail will create one integral part from your rifle scope. This will result in better accuracy, reducing the barrel harmonics and create an extra stiff barrel construction. To make all this work, you also get this in your barrel tensioning kit. It's a very nice, glossy, massive 30 mm thick carbon fiber sleeve with an outside diameter of 20 mm, and this will stiffen the barrel even more to almost completely eliminating that barrel flex. The tensioning system reduces the amplitude of the barrel moving during the shot, which creates a better accuracy on paper, of course. To create the barrel tensioning, you will also be needing something to put or create tension, of course. So this nice black anodized end cap is provided to screw onto the end of the barrel, pushing that carbon fiber sleeve to create tension, of course. The end cap has a 1.5 UNF threads to accept any additional harmonic barrel tuner or a moderator like the ones from Huma Air, of course. Now for the 35 caliber models, these are threaded with an M18x1, specially done for the caliber, of course, because it's a lot larger. Looking at the kit, obviously the carbon fiber sleeve that comes in this kit replaces the FX factory shroud, unless you have done some modifications to the original one to make it fit, but that's a whole other story. Now when you order your kit, the kit comes with a carbon fiber tensioning tube matching the selected length of your barrel and a full set of screws of assembly that are included as well, as you see right here. And so all these pieces together create the barrel tensioning kit by Huma Air. I think we've gone over all the features it has to offer, so the next thing we'll be doing is installing it onto my FX impact, of course. Right, so the first thing we will do is install our barrel clamp onto our rail. Very simple. Put it in with the round cap to the big open slot, as you see right here. Drop in the 6 supplied screws. Just like this. Make sure the threads are starting. Don't screw it all the way tight, because it still has to slide over our barrel, of course. just close to the bottom is good enough. Just like this, make sure there is still a little bit of play on it so it can slide easily over your barrel. I don't know if you can see, but the cap also has a slight recess into it, and this is done because the carbon fiber tube has to slide into that cap and sits nicely flush on the end. So remember that carbon fiber tube slides into that little piece. And with that installed, it's time to mount it onto our FX Impact. But before we can mount it, we of course have to take our FX Impact, remove the original scope rail. And here I have my FX Impact. It's actually a Mark II that I almost converted to a Mark III, or an M3 to be better said. And the first thing I will do is remove my Element Optics helix, sitting in this nice, beautiful Eagle Vision scope mount. And with that out of the way, first thing I will do is remove my harmonic barrel tuner. Slide it off just like this. Then we can release the screws of the original scope mount. The bigger one at the front. Like this, put it to the side. And now we have a free platform to work on. Remember, we screwed this thing onto the Huma Air barrel tensioning. And not to forget that keyway that nicely slots over the backbone of your FX Impact, like this, eliminating that left to right movement, and you will see in just in a second why. Now, because we have installed this already, just line it up with your barrel. Now it slides over. Then align that keyway that Huma Air nicely has slotted in, and this slides nicely over your barrel, just like this. And as you can see, the left to right movement is barely there, which is a great added feature, that keyway. Take the supplied screws by Huma, because they're a little bit longer than the original ones. Put them in just like you would do with the original ones. Start the threads. Alright guys, I just ran into a small issue trying to install the rail. The problem was that the screws at the back were not lining up with the holes in the top plates of your Impact, and I was wondering how did this happen, because the kit on the website of Huma Air is clearly written it's designed for the Impact Mark I and Mark II and not specifically for the M3. They know about this issue, so that's why they put it on their website when they designed this, and design time and production time and anodizing time, the Impact came out. What is now actually the issue? That is that this is a part from your Impact Mark II or Mark I, and this is the part from the Impact Mark III, which has this little part that sticks out, which one this doesn't have. Originally, this part interferes with the back part, and that's why that small push of it didn't make or didn't allow me to screw in those holes, and they didn't line up with it. Completely my mistake. I knew it in advance that this was made for the Impact Mark II or Mark I, but I clearly forgot that I have upgraded my Mark II with so many M3 parts that I had this installed, and that's why it was not fitting. So you have two options, going or passing this, or you need to make sure you have the original block just like this one, or you use the M3 block. And as you can see, I put it into the lathe and I made a small radius on the edges, because it was just only the square edge of this part that was interfering with that part right there. But now everything is good and I can use this part from my Impact M3. So not a mistake of Huma, my mistake. They know about this, and in the next batch this will also fit the Impact M3. So if you want to order this one, make sure give them a call, give them an email to ask if it's already the upgraded part or the redesigned part to make it fit with the M3. So let's continue with the installation. I'm going to use this part, and this part goes in like this. Take my 2 screws. They had so many variations of this front block here that it's always difficult to keep track or design stuff for the Impact. I put my barrel in all the way to the back to make sure this part is lining up perfectly. And push it to the back. Like this, tightening it up. Like so. And then we can go ahead, take our rail with that bottom part installed, make sure it's loose enough so we can slide over the barrel. Make sure you align the key slot, Huma integrated in the rail. Make sure it's all the way to the back. The front screw, that was not a problem in the beginning, this lines up nicely. The 2 back screws, they thread in nicely now. Oops. Don't put them tight yet, as we will have to be removing them in just a little while again. Like so. Turn your Impact around, put it upside down just like this. Maybe for the view I'll remove the bipod quickly. And now we're going to tighten the screws you have here on the side. The only thing you have to make sure is that you more or less tighten them equally. So as you can see, this part can wobble a little bit, and you want the gap on the 2 sides to be a little bit the same. We're going to just tighten it so we have a reference on where it has to sit on the barrel mount before we pull everything out again, and then we can tighten to the correct torque settings. So screw them in. Not as easy. Maybe a handy tip, if you have those Allen keys with this ball head, it's probably a lot easier than the ones that I'm using right here. Like this. Now what we have to do is remove the complete assembly for a second. So put it back on the bipod. Take out the screws from the back again. That's 1, 2, the one in the front, like this. And now we can slide off the whole assembly together with the barrel, because it's held in place with the clamp right here. And as you can see, this has quite a bigger footprint than what we see on other systems that clamps on to that barrel. Put the Impact to the side for a second. And now what we have to try to do is to make sure that gap, whoops, bumping the camera, the gap between left and right has to be more or less equal, so you put equal force on your barrel. I'm a little bit off, so I'm going to loosen one side a little bit. Just a few turns, tighten the other side. See if it made a difference in the gap. A little bit, so we have to go a little bit more. and by doing this I can cant that little piece. And that looks very even. So now we have to torque these, and Huma states that you have to torque them between 15 and 17 and a half, I don't know how you exactly say this, inch foot-pounds, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to go crisscross pattern, slide turns, so we don't change up that alignment that we just did. Crisscross little bits, and I leave the middle ones a little bit looser. Now I can help them along, and I'm getting close. Let's quickly check if how my alignment is still good. Yes, perfect. And that's already to the torque spec. That one as well, like this. Now, such a wrench, very handy in your kit, not only for this but for many other parts on your impact. And then we take our barrel, slide it back in nice and gently. Make sure you align the keyway and push it all the way home, just like this. Take that front screw, make sure it starts, the two back ones, as with everything, you can tighten it, don't over tighten it. I've taken my impact apart so many times, I can more or less feel by the Allen key how tight it has to be, like this. That's the rail installed, the clamp installed, and we're now going to focus our attention to that carbon fiber shroud. As I mentioned earlier, your original shroud has to be removed and be replaced by that nice shiny thick carbon fiber sleeve that Huma provides with the kit. Now, the carbon fiber sleeve has been tested to fit over several diameters of barrels, because the original barrels by FX have a slight tolerance between 13.7 to 13.9. Some of them are even 14 millimeters exactly, and therefore it might be that your tube doesn't perfectly slide over your barrel, so you'll have to sand it out with some sandpaper. And of course my barrel didn't allow it to slide on perfectly. I tested with another one and it went perfectly, so probably I just have a barrel that's a little bit thicker than some other ones. So I went through it with some sandpaper to make it all fit. And it goes on, but it's kind of stiff and I have to manipulate it quite strongly. Like this. Very nice. And just make sure that your carbon fiber sleeve slides in to that, I don't know if you can see it very well on camera, on this tube in front of your clamp to align everything. Because once we screw on this part right now, it will push the carbon fiber tube to the back in that little cup of that clamp, and therefore will put tension on your barrel. So you take your front end cap, put it on, screw it in by hand, that you make sure the threads start nicely until you feel resistance. And then it's always advisable to use an adjustable spanner and a cloth to put over your end cap, so you make sure you're not damaging that end piece. simply adjust it to the two grooves you have right here. Like this, and then gently tighten it. Now the amount of torque you put on that nut will put some force on that carbon fiber tube, of course. There is no given torque that you have to torque this to. It's all preference. You can experiment with a little bit more, a little bit less, because it will change the harmonics of your barrel and therefore also a little bit your accuracy. Mine was hand tight and I put it a little bit, 3/4 of a turn extra, something like this. But we'll have to experiment with this in the future. And as you can see, that really stiffens up that barrel very nicely. So then we can take the bipod off quickly. It even looks very nice with that carbon fiber tube, a nice end cap. Refurbish, not really refurbish. Take my moderator. Oops, and the end cap came with it. Like this. Put the end cap back in. This is, by the way, the over the barrel moderator that comes with that Hornet kit that I made a video quite a while back. Fits nice over the 1.5 UNF threads, like this. Then I will retighten the screw at the back for the barrel. Now the barrel has two connection points. Now it has one in the front and one at the back, of course. Just one more quick little thing. Since all the internals and the barrel tensioning kit is installed on my Impact Mark II, Mark III, whatever, it's almost fair that I put this plate on top of my Impact that Huma also sells. Just to be clear that my Impact is powered by Huma Air. So quickly replace the plate with this one right here. Voila, powered by Huma Air. Perfect. Okay guys, and there we have it, the Huma Air barrel tensioning kit installed. So let's have a quick recap on what all the features you get. You get the extended rail, which give you a little bit more room at the front to mount your optics in various ways or add an accessory in front, whatever. You have some extra Picatinny rails on the side to mount some more additional accessories. They have machined in this nice key slot that slits over the back of your backbone of your Impact to make sure the alignment and everything is perfectly. They have a nice generous clamping system that grips on to a quiet portion of your barrel to make it to keep it firmly into place. They have this nice glossy carbon fiber sleeve with 3mm thick walls, which is capped off by this nice end cap that you can use to fine-tune your harmonics of your barrel by tightening it a little bit more or a little bit less, but this is preference to you and to test out, of course. Not to forget, you have a 1.5 UNF on the end, so you can mount your favorite moderator to it as well. That's the quick recap. Very easy to install, as you can see. Follow it step by step. It's just following the procedure and you will do very fine. One quick important thing is make sure you have that good block installed, which comes on the Mark I and the Mark II. If you have upgraded your M3, you can always go back because probably you will still have that little block, or you modify the original part on the M3 parts, of course, to make the kit fit. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be going out testing this setting, testing also the different tensionings to see what gives me the best results. So I hope to see you back in that video as well. As always, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I catch you back in the next one. Bye.